92.7 coming to you from our studios here at Isawe Kanda, Accra. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Coming up this afternoon, Ghana confirms first case of Mpox virus with 230 suspected cases recorded in all 16 regions. Also, hundreds of Ghana activists embark on a 3-day protest to demand immediate action against galamsey and the release of 53 others anti-galamsey protesters currently in detention. Later in this afternoon, organized labor set to meet President Akufo-Addo over their threat to strike. Details of this and more shortly. Many thanks for joining us. Let's get the detail now. Ghana has confirmed its first case of the Mpox virus. This follows nearly 2 months of heightened surveillance after an earlier report by the Africa Center for Disease Surveillance suggested 4 cases had already been recorded. Mpox, which used to be called monkeypox, is an infectious viral disease that can occur in humans and other animals. It can cause a painful rash, enlarged lymph nodes and fever, and most people fully recover, but some get very sick. According to the Ghana Health Service, 230 suspected cases are also being investigated across all the 16 regions of the country, with contact tracing and surveillance teams at work. We're working the phones to speakly short to a professor on this. But while we do that, Mpox can be transmitted through close contact with someone who has Mpox with contaminated materials or with infected animals. Associate Professor at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Professor Joseph Boni, explains.
Monkeypox, we have got 2 main clades, or let's say variants. We have the West African variant and we have the Central African variant. And they have these 2 variants because they actually are viruses that can be found in these 2 regions. They saw it from monkeys at first. But evidence has shown that we have these squirrels. Most of them are some of the reservoirs. If we say reservoirs, that means those animals can have the virus in them. And when you get so close to them, you can get that animal, that virus from this animal into you. And once it gets into the human being, then it becomes easy for human-to-human transmission once the person is infected. Personal hygiene, and make sure that you don't get to handle these exotic animals, especially if you don't know them. If you are keeping them as pets, you have to be very careful. Not so getting so close to them and handling them in a way that they can easily get any viruses in them into you.
Associate Professor at the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Professor Joseph Boni there. My colleague Martin Esedudate is in studio to help us with a conversation around this. Martin, what more do we know about this outbreak?
Information we've been able to gather so far is that all 16 regions have suspected cases. They are not confirmed yet. Only 1 has been confirmed. All 16 regions have suspected cases. And in total, we have about 230 different suspected cases. The Greater Accra leads the 16 regions with the most suspected cases. In the Greater Accra region, we've recorded 87 of those kinds of cases. And what we also got from our sources within the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health is that the individual who was confirmed to have had the Mpox has no travel history, has not had any specific issue with haven't gone out of the country or back in the country. So it means that there's a likelihood it must have generated from within the country. And 3 days ago, also on the 3rd of September, the individual reported to the hospital with fever and general body pains, sore throat, and a rash on the body. Now, if you know how the Mpox, when it is fully fledged, leaves some pock dots on your body, and the person had those kind of rashes in the palm, on the face, and then they realized that it's gone to the back of the individual and the entire body. So it was spreading at quite an alarming rate. So that is why they thought that it must be given special attention. And upon their search, they realized that it was not just that individual, but across the country, people have similar symptoms, but they are yet to confirm whether theirs is also Mpox.
Has the Ghana Health Service activated any response mechanism to this outbreak?
Certainly, yes. They tell us that they have activated their district, regional, and national public health emergency coordination structure. So, which indirectly means that there is a protocol they need to follow when they have suspected cases. All those protocols have been activated, meaning that they need to pay specific attention to people who come in with certain specific symptoms that they need to look out for, so that it will help them be able to immediately identify and either contain the situation or find immediate remedy to it. They also talked about some limitations or challenges they are having.
Yes, I was going to ask you what challenges this would be posing for the health authorities and even for individuals.
Yes, because this is the first time Ghana is recording it, they are limited in terms of getting the adequate infrastructure to be able to first or immediately identify and recommend immediate treatment for that. So that is one of their biggest challenges. Also, they are concerned about funding and financial support to help transport some of the samples. So, you know, in Ghana, our medical research labs are situated in just the capitals, most of it being Accra. And when suspected cases are seen elsewhere from the capital, they need to transport samples to the labs to test. And that is a challenge in terms of infrastructure and the funding to do those transportations. And they are asking for immediate assistance from government to help them remedy that situation.
Martin, thank you so much for that update. My colleague Martin Isidudata with that update on the suspected or confirmed case of Mpox in Ghana and what you need to know so you can stay safe. So Mpox can be transmitted through close contact with someone who has Mpox with contaminated materials or with infected animals. Let's move away from Mpox. And hundreds of Ghanaian youth and environmental activists are embarking on a 3-day protest to demand the immediate release of 53 Democracy Hub protesters who were arrested during an anti-galamsey demonstration last week. The demonstration will run until October 5, aims to highlight the ongoing environmental destruction caused by illegal mining, locally known as galamsey. My colleague Joseph Armstrong Gold Alagbe is with the reporters and joins us.
Protests in demand of the release of some Democracy Hub protesters who have been arrested, and they are also demanding that the government ensure galamsey is stopped. Many of them are from the University of Ghana, others also came willingly on their own. They've been marching from the Okonglo lorry station and they are heading towards Independence Square. Let's talk to some of the conveners and find out are the numbers encouraging?
Well, you know, today is the first day, right? And it's still, we take into consideration that today is a working day. So a lot of our colleagues are still going to join us during the march. But we are happy people turned up. We are happy and we are sure. What I can assure is on Saturday, we might not even be able to contain the numbers. We will need more because Saturday is a weekend. And therefore, people will be free to join as much as they want to. Exactly.
Very well. So let's get to know about your issues again. We know of two where you are demanding that the protesters be freed and also the issue of galamsey be a thing of the past.
Yes, so I keep saying there are two main issues. The first and foremost is for galamsey to stop now. This we have reiterated several times that the devastation that galamsey is causing is beyond us. We cannot begin to fathom. We can't wait for the worst of the worst to happen to us. And the second issue is for our brothers and sisters who have been arrested and detained by the police to be freed. And that is what we are protesting.
But so far, how will you describe the protest so far?
You can see for yourself. I mean, the euphoria is high and people are serious. It's all about Ghana. No groups, no political parties, nothing. We are fighting for our motherland because whatever happens here happens to you and I and our unborn children.
Girl, so what's your name? What's the name again?
Camry Table.
Camry Table. So that is Camry Table, one of the conveners. Let's talk to some of the other protesters. Let's talk to this young lady. Madam, how are you? So where are you coming from? You are coming from where? Okay, we are coming from Kaswa.
Yes.
And you joined the protest?
Yes.
What's the motivation?
Because the water bodies are being polluted with heavy metals. And when you look at the effects of heavy metals, it's very dangerous. If someone gets kidney disease, that is very expensive in Ghana. So looking at all that, it doesn't really make sense that up to now they haven't stopped galamsey. And then this is why we were arrested for the last protest. It's a breach upon their rights because where people have been allowed to roam about, and then these people who are protecting Ghana's resources have been arrested.
So you want them to release us?
Yes, they should be released immediately because it's not fair at all to sleep in the prison for 1 week for fighting for the country's resources. It's very bad. It's very bad. As a democratic country, it's very, very bad.
Vero, thank you so much. What's your name?
Benali.
Benali. Let me talk to you. So, madam, how are you? So, why did you join the protest? Tell me your life on it.
Just to stop galamsey.
You want galamsey to be stopped?
Yes, and also free rap.
Okay, so let me first. Why did you join? Okay, he will not talk to you. Let me talk to a few more of the other protesters. Madam, how are you? Okay, so this is a protest demanding for the release of the Democracy Hub protesters that have been arrested and remanded in police custody. Let me talk to some of the protesters. Madam, why did you join the protest? Okay, you will talk. Madam Boss, why did you join the protest?
It be too much, it be too much.
Yeah.
It be too much. When our poppies they suffer, for a village, we dey city, it not affect city yet. The time go affect city, as well me then go enter here. The police go join me, the armies go join me. Them now, them are politician people. Them now go join me. No, it be too much. It be too much. We not be NDC, we not be NPP, we not be APC, we not be any top political party. Time we could tell the truth. They all make we see what Kenya do before you go retaliate. No, Kenya will be peaceful people. Police officer, young people, I be young, they be young, look at be young.
So my colleague Joseph Armstrong Gold will be engaging some of the demonstrators who have joined the Say No to Galamsey protest and also advocating for the release of some of the protesters in the earlier demonstration who are still in police and prison custody. Meanwhile, some members of the clergy have backed calls for the declaration of a state of emergency to tackle the wreck of illegal mining, also known as galamsey, in the country. Some of them who spoke to us contend the current effects of the menace is a sin against humanity and nature.
It started very small, but now we shall put our hands on deck. I encourage every well-meaning Ghanaian to do everything we can to stamp out galamsey.
For 6 months, if there is a total ban or a state of emergency, because it's not the best for God to give us such forests, rivers, for us deliberately to kill forests, to kill water, and to kill fishes, and to kill aquatic life in the search of gold. It's not the best. To me, it's wickedness.
So finally, natural resources that God has given to this nation must be preserved. Water is life. And if there's anything that must be preserved in this nation, that is our water bodies. Today, the rise of many different diseases, especially renal diseases, kidney diseases, kidney failure. A lot of people asking why are people getting so much renal failure and cancers and all these things. It's because there's pollution and everybody drinks water and we need water to survive. So if there's anything that is being done that will pollute the water bodies of this nation, it must definitely be checked, because this is a menace to society, and not only a menace to society, but something that will endanger the lives of millions of Ghanaians. And we can't have a few people get wealth at the expense of the millions of Ghanaians. So I believe that the talk on galamsey should not just be a talk, but there should be action so that we can get a hold of this thing.
These activities have depleted our rivers, depleted the mines. I mean, we are all here, fish stock, and even water resources. So our prayer is that God will help us through our leadership, the leadership of whichever government, this one or the next one, that they would come up with policies that will help restore these things. And then above all, the young man doing galamsey himself, his conscience would strike him to say that I must stop doing what I'm doing. Now, the Bible says that the madman of Gadara, when Jesus met him, at a point when the evil spirits left him, said that he was in his right senses. Our prayer is that the people who are physically doing the activity will come to their right senses and stop destroying the lands.
Some members of the clergy adding their voice to the call for declaration of a state of emergency or immediate actions to stop galamsey. Away from the protests, organized labor is this afternoon holding a crunch meeting with President Akufo-Addo following their declaration of a strike set to begin on October 10. This action comes after organized labor claims the government has failed to take action. Organized labor, among others, is calling on the president to declare a state of emergency in line with the provisions of Article 31 and 31(4) of the 1992 Constitution. Government has some 7 days to take decisive action to convince organized labor it is serious about tackling the menace of illegal mining in Ghana. Our labor correspondent Daniel Opoku is joining us in studio for more on this. Danny, has a meeting started? Who and who, where are in it?
Right, so the meeting began around 10 a.m. this morning, and they just finished. And those who attended the meeting were the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, who is also the spokesperson of organized labor, Mr. Joshua Ansan. Then you also have the Deputy Secretary General, Dr. Kwabena Akuotu. Then you have other leadership and a host of others. For instance, the Deputy Secretary General of the Ghana Federation of Labor. They were those who led the team to see the president. In fact, it was an invitation done by the president for them to officially appear before him, table their concerns before him, and see how they may be able to resolve the issues that they have raised.
So take us through why labor is demanding urgent action from government of galamsey.
Right, so labor to the decision, organized labor to the decision basically depend on the communication and the information they got from their members. For instance, the Ghana Medical Association is also a member of organized labor. Okay. And a lot of them are health professionals. And looking at the reports that come before them, based on that, they believe that labor must take a firm decision for government to ban all small-scale mining activities, including galamsey activities. It's the reason they took that particular decision. President set up a technical committee. They appeared before the committee. They made their case clear. But unfortunately, there hasn't been any concrete resolution to the matter. It's the reason they have given 10th of October for them to strike. Yesterday, the National Labour's position or National Labour's mandate was invoked with regard to the strike. Okay. Labour Commission is also stepping in to engage the leadership of organized labour and government to get the matters addressed. This morning when they appeared before the president made an appeal to them for them to call off the strike so that they will sit and have the issues addressed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the response of the president has been.
Very much so, because when you listen to the leadership of organizing, you realize the president himself has been very much concerned about the nature of mining and also galamsey and all that. Let's not forget that they tabled their matter before the president about 2 weeks ago, on the 11th of September, when they raised the issue about banning all small-scale mining activities and also galamsey and all that. That particular information, that particular petition has already been sent to the president. Okay. So based on that, the president had to invite them, be able to convince them not to embark on the strike, give him some few days, because we have from now up to next week Thursday for the strike to take place. If the president has from today up to hopefully next week Wednesday to be able to engage them and convince them not to call about not to embark on the strike. So, but currently the strike is still on the table. Organized labor, after meeting the president, will meet the entire constituency, brief them, then they'll take the next line of action.
So that means that they didn't give the president an outright answer on whether they'll go ahead or not.
No, they couldn't have been able to do that because there are 3 labor centers. We have the Ghana Federation of Labor as one center. We have the Trade Union Congress as a second center. Then also have the Forum as a third center. All of them may have to meet their constituents. That's when they meet as organized labor, and they'll be able to brief them exactly what the president has said. If they buy into it, then obviously we are likely to see a suspension of the strike. Then ample time we give the president for issues. Beyond that, if they don't succeed in convincing their members, means that they may have to proceed. But from where I sit, I don't see the strike happening because once you meet the president, You cannot look into the eyes of the president and embark on a strike. It's a sign of bad faith, and it's also a sign of disrespect because he has made an appeal to you. So obviously, something Labour will consider, and I see a review of their position, earlier position of not to embark on a strike.
We hopefully hope that it ends up that way, so that there's no strike, but also so that government also takes an action so that the effect of galamsey is also minimized on all of us.
Very well, because the strike should take place, then we have a problem. We are talking close to 700,000 people.
The entire nation shutting down.
Exactly, you're shutting the entire economy down. So obviously, President must act fast.
All right, Danny, thank you so much for the update. And Odopoku is a man on the Labour front, updating us on that meeting between the President and organised Labour on whether or not that 8th October slated strike on galamsey will happen or not. We will bring you more subsequently. Well, the Paramount Chief of Lower Axim, Ewulai Atibrukusu III, has led an operation with his sub-chiefs to arrest illegal miners at some illegal mining sites in the Nzima East municipality of the Western region. Ewulai has vowed to hold accountable any traditional leader in his jurisdiction found to be complicit in environmental degradation and ensure they face swift sanctions from the Traditional Council. So here is Rama Smith's report.
Ewulai Atibrukusu III, shocked and dismayed upon discovering the alarming scale of destruction in his area, contrary to his initial assumption that it was spared, has vowed to hold accountable any traditional leader found to be complicit.
Complain, Mama Nede, I told me Hanum, I am Fnubi one side some Ugudu Warrior Galamsey. Roman Jeezy, but Banade said Amada, what he says believing into other Makasama Banamede, Mbappe. Ampara, Missim. Now you're come on, Moya.
The youth in my community are well aware of my opposition to galamsey, but it's the leaders who are perpetuating this destructive practice. As a result, I have summoned an emergency traditional council meeting to address it. One of the implicated chiefs has effectively sacked himself. Let this serve as a warning. Regardless of status, anyone found complicit will face the consequences.
Emergency Treasury Council Ewulai
Atibrukusu III emphasized the importance of collective action to protect their natural resources.
Into the money there, young Governor Peritos. You will police if you will see
We must leverage government apparatus, including the police and military, to combat this galamsey menace. If I hadn't intervened, our youth would have taken matters into their own hands and destroyed the equipment. Instead, I urged them to bring the evidence to the police station. We've already arrested 1 Chinese and 2 Ghanaian nationals, and I'll see this case through to its conclusion. This is not small-scale mining, it's outright galamsey, as evident in the devastating river destruction, massive holes dug into the riverbed. I will ensure they reclaim the site.
Well, away from that, Small Scale Miners Association is using its task force to fight against mining in river bodies and check members washing mining residues in rivers. Another renewed fight, the Small Scale Miners will double the numbers of their task force to check the illegality. Already, the heightened activities of the illegality is limiting their access to communities of operation and social licenses, which could collapse the sector. The Ashanti Regional PRO, Arafat Suleimana, speaks of some gains.
So yesterday we had a letter from the organized labor, indicating they will actually embark on a strike if the government doesn't make any move or make any statement regarding the illicit mining on our water bodies and our forest reserves. As an association, this was already a concern for us, which has been causing us a lot of challenges, because this has also been minimizing our access to the communities and then also limiting our social licenses, which we've created for over a long period of time. And as such, we decided that if so, we've already embarked on operations on the Birim River, where we're trying to make sure that we rid it of any illegal miner who is sitting on the Birim River, which is causing the turbidity. And we were able to chalk a lot of successes there. Turbidity that was at 2,000, we were able to bring it down to 50. And our coordination with the Ghana Water Company within the district was so good that anytime the stability goes to even 200, they would actually indicate our task force will go back and read them off. So it had this a wake-up call for us to come to a meeting, decide on what actions to take on all the water bodies that we found dredgers and chamfer operators who are sitting on the water bodies and destroying them. So we decided to come on a meeting today, discuss the issues at hand and see how we'll go by it, and then come together and make sure that we will actually rid the rivers of any illegal operator who is sitting on the river bodies and causing the turbidity to be high. So that is why we met. One other reason is also to make sure that all miners or anybody involved in mining should know that we are sending a caution to them. If you are washing and you are releasing your, your water directly into the river bodies, you are warned, because when we are coming after you.
That was the PRO of the Ashanti Regional Small Scale Miners Association. Let's move away from issues of galamsey now. And the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, is requesting from political parties when voted into office to see to the implementation of the deprived area allowance for teachers who accept posting in hard-to-reach communities. NAT laments, though the labor law makes a deprived area allowance a right for rural teachers, government has for the past 15 years ignored them. At the launch of NAT Week and World Teachers Day, the association is demanding an improved welfare of the teacher for quality education delivery. Let's listen to Reverend Isaac Owusu, President of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT.
Expecting whichever party that wins to do is to follow the laid down procedures, the rules and regulations, the labor laws that governs the workers in Ghana, because it is a duty of the employer to provide working materials. The worker is supposed to work under safe and conducive environment. So if you are a teacher, you are working at a place that you don't have a befitting facility, you don't have the potable water, you find it difficult, hard to reach areas. And the law says that you cushion this worker, motivate him small. And if for about 15 years down the line, deprived area allowance from NDC to MPP, none of them has able to honor this. If the teacher is sidelined and the teacher is suffering, you work, your rank, people went to school to upgrade their knowledge, and the employer found it difficult in upgrading such a teacher. You are demotivating the teacher. So we feel that what is important is that let us take proper good care of the Ghanaian teacher, and the nation will grow and grow well.
Reverend Isaac Owusu, President of NAT. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar, who has been sitting through the conference, is joining us. Ibrahim, concerns of growing discipline among students was also raised at the event. What has NAT been saying about this?
Well, briefly, I said as teachers, they also have a role to play in instilling discipline among students. But in recent times, it appears the power they had is been waning out, because they no more have the authority to even punish students when they go wrong. That's how come in recent times you hear students going to school with machete and other weapons. But then they are urging the stakeholders to play their part, whilst as teachers, they also play their part in churning out disciplined students or people who come out to be the future leaders of the country. General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa Tanko, has been shedding more light on this.
The kind of behavior that the students are displaying today is terrible. They beat teachers. Sometimes the parents themselves will come and join their children, go to the school. They beat up the teacher. In those days, Sabofania Bonia, in fact, I remember quite clearly, if your parents tell you that they are going to report you to the teacher, you are doomed. You are doomed. But today, mother, father will unite. They will form a united front with their boy or the girl. They are coming to attack the teacher. So when the boy grows up, the boy becomes irresponsible, or the girl becomes irresponsible. So today we want to remind ourselves that the work we are doing, we need to work together. So as teachers, we need to remind ourselves of these three things.
Thomas Musa Tanko, General Secretary of Midday. Ibrahim, thank you for that update. Before we go, the Ghana Highway Authority has announced a temporary closure and diversion of the Atomic Junction overpass in Accra from October 3 to 22, 2024 for a repair of exposed expansion joint. The temporary closure and diversion will take place from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily within the period from October 3 to 22. This was announced in a video published by the authority. My colleague George Quayling is at the Atomic Junction and reports.
If you're a regular commuter of the Legon-Medina Highway, I'm sure you'll be privy to the inconvenience on the Atomic flyover because the expansion joints have been exposed. And this, of course, creates some sort of discomfort and causes some sort of fear whilst flying this stretch. And I've been told about some accidents that have actually taken place here, some gory, just terrible accident. And it's actually a terrible thing flying this very stretch. But the good news is this very defect is going to be fixed. So for the next 19 days, if you're a regular commuter of this very stretch, you're going to be inconvenienced. And according to the Roads and Highways Authority, it's going to take them 19 days to fix this. And this very stipulated time has been questioned by a lot of people. The fact is, somewhere in Japan, it took them 3 days to put up 1,500 bed capacity hospital. And so why is this taking 19 days to fix? Sometimes you need to compare and contrast. And this, of course, is a question for the goals.
My colleague George Quayling with that report. We'll bring you the full report in our subsequent bulletins. But that's our package for the midday news on 3FM 92.7. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Thank you for joining us. Michael Ogbodu is standing by to bring us the latest in the world of business. Good afternoon.
Well, hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Ogbodu. Coming up, Fitch Solution projects Ghana's economy to expand by 4.4% in 2025, lower than anticipated 5.5% plus. Ghana ranks 95th in 2024 Global Innovation Index, highlighting need for increased social entrepreneurship.
On the Global Innovation Index, and a number of things were the focal areas for the Global Innovation Index.
I'm Michael Ogbodu. I'll bring you details of our top stories and more shortly. Please stay. Thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story, as Fitch Solutions has projected that Ghana's economy will grow by 4.4% in 2025, a slight decrease from the anticipated 5.5% growth in 2024. The International Rating Agency emphasizes that private consumption will continue to be the main growth driver next year. The following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
Despite this deceleration, Ghana is expected to outperform the sub-Saharan Africa average growth rate of 3.6%. Inflation is forecast to decrease to 16% in 2025, marking the lowest level since 2021, which should enhance household purchasing power and bolster consumer confidence. Fitch suggests that the next government, following the December 2024 elections, will need to implement measures aimed at controlling public spending and improving revenue collection in alignment with Ghana's International Monetary Fund program. Additionally, private consumption growth is projected to slow to 5.5% in 2025, down from 8.5% in 2024, contributing 4.8 percentage points to overall real GDP growth. Fixed investment is also expected to recover as a key growth driver in 2025, following a challenging 2023 impacted by the Bank of Ghana's rapid monetary tightening.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Away from that, Ghana has been ranked 95th in the latest Global Innovation Index, reflecting the nation's innovation potential and areas for growth. The report, which assesses 133 economies worldwide, emphasizes the importance of social entrepreneurship in driving innovation, highlighting opportunities for Ghana to leverage new ventures, addressing societal challenges to boost its ranking. Addressing the media at the 3rd edition of the African Startup Ecosystem Builder Summit in Accra, Director of Business Support and Policy at the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program NEIP, Franklin Owusu-Kakari, called for policy interventions to make Ghana an innovation hub in the sub-region.
Within the last couple of years, from 2015, 2016, we were around 137 on the Global Innovation Index. And within the last couple of years, currently from 2022 to 2023, Ghana is ranked 95th on the Global Innovation Index. And a number of things were the focal areas for the Global Innovation Index in the area of infrastructure, in the area of support, in the area of training and capacity for the startups in the innovation space. And within the last couple of years, we have seen a tremendous growth in the innovation space in Ghana. And this has all accumulated into the Ghana being ranked 95th and the number 5th position after countries like Mauritius, South Africa, Botswana, Kenya, and Ghana number 5. And it shows that we are going somewhere. With a little pressing and more logistics and other policy-driven issues, we believe that we can be number one in Africa in some few years to come.
Now, that was Director of Business Support and Policy at the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEIP, Franklin Owusu-Kakari there. Away from that, the Electronic Money Issuers, EMI Chamber of Ghana, has expressed hopes that political parties will not reintroduce the e-levy in any form if scrapped next year. Total mobile money transactions have already surged approximately 1.7 trillion by September this year, compared to about 1 trillion recorded by the end of 2023. Speaking at the launch of the chamber, its CEO, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Agyemang, said the growth in mobile money transactions is a clear sign of the sector's potential and should be supported and encouraged.
When you're looking at the growth of mobile money, you need to discount a lot of things. You need to look at the fact that the depreciation of the cedi has happened, the inflation, you need to take that into consideration, because in the past, if you were going to send somebody 2 cedis to buy a ball of keiki, now you have to send the person 5 cedis before the person would be able to buy the same size of ball of keiki. So we need to factor that. From the data we've looked at, the rate at which we are accelerating the growth of mobile money, if it had not been for e-levy, would have been even better than where we are. But be it as it may, we're sure that with all the conversations that have gone on with the various political parties about the issue of e-levy going off, it is important that the policymakers know that they don't then come back and introduce the e-levy in another way and put the burden on the operators. So it cannot be said that we're taking the e-levy the way it is and then we're going to pass it on to the operators. That would definitely also put a dampener on the industry. So we hope that when they talk about the fact that they are taking e-levy away, they are taking it away and they are not going to bring it back in another form or shape.
So that was the CEO of the Electronic Money Issuers EMI Chamber of Ghana, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Agyemang, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Urban Blend with Black Rasta.